Welcome to today's class on AutoCAD Electrical. Today we'll be treating Module 5 and our topic is creating circuits for the luminary and fan layout. The luminary and fan layout we created in our last class. Today we'll be drafting them into circuits. It will involve sample circuit with the electrical component and grouping luminaries and fans into sub-circuits. Okay, let's go to our workspace. That's the AutoCAD where our design will take place proper. Okay, this is our design interface. This is where our design will take place, and this is the layout we created last time. Let me put it into a full screen. Ctrl 0. Okay, Ctrl 0 makes it a full screen. So from here we can see what we are going to do. This is the layout we created in our last class, that's the luminary and fan plan. Now we are going to make all the components we have here into sub-circuit. We'll be using letters and number for the sub-circuit. L means the luminaries for the world. So all the L1 will become one sub-circuit and they will be connected to the MCB. That is the miniature circuit breaker right there in the distribution board. Now the distribution board will contain the MCB, and this sub-circuit will be connected straight to the MCB. That's why we have here the luminaries. Here we have L1, and the total load after this of the sub-circuit will be 2000 kilowatt, and to be connected to an MCB with a 10 ampere rating. We're going to go back to there and see how we go about that. Now to start with, we have to group the security light port building as L1. So I'll name this one L1. So I'll copy it, CO, enter. I'll copy it and I'll paste it on all the luminaries. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have here 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So there are 16 of them. There's one here, 17. Okay, these are the luminaries. We have 17 lighting, one light across the perimeter of the building. So at 17, that means if each of them is using about 100 watt, that means you are having about 1700 watt. So if you look at it here, as it has been connected here, okay, I think we've added some parts here. We have the carport L1 here, L1 to make it 20. So we are going to include it there. So we are going to include this. Copy that. So include it here. The carport is also that's 18, 19, and 20. Okay, from this design we made the total here as 20 points L1, and each of them is rated a maximum of 100. That means the L1 component here will not have a rating more than 100 watts. So if each of them is 100 and we have 20 of them, that means we have 2000 watts. Now 2000 watts means 2 kilowatts here for the L1. Now the MCB rating, to get the rating, we have to use the 2000 divided by the supply voltage. Our supply voltage ranging between 220 to 230 volts. So if I say 2000 divided by 220, we are having about 8 points. Now that the 8 points In 2000 divided by 220, okay, we are having about 9 ampere here. We have 9 ampere. Now having a 9 ampere, that means the 10 ampere MCB is what will cover for the 9 ampere load current. Hence we are connecting it to a 10 ampere MCB. Note, you can't connect a 9 ampere MCB rating to maybe a 5 ampere rating. If the MCB is lower than the total load, you have to increase the MCB. Hence we are using 5 ampere and we are using 10 ampere. So on the total load. Now we go to L2, do the same thing for the L2. We connect, we label the L2 for the terrace 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 9. Then let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I think it's 8. We'll remove this 2. I'll move it. Okay, we have 8 points for the L2. So the L2 has 8 points. That covers the living room and the terrace, and also part of the foyer. So now, by the time you calculate 8 points, 100 watts, we have 800. That's 800 watts. That is 0.8 kilowatts. So having 0.8 kilowatt, if you divide it by 220, we are having about 4 point something ampere. So we are connecting it, hence we are connecting it to a 5 ampere MCB because it is below 5. Anything above 5 ampere connected to a 10 ampere MCB. So the same thing we do for the LA1 here is the ceiling chandelier. When the ceiling chandelier has heavy capacity, much more than the simple appliance here. And the ceiling chandelier is going to a separate MCB called the LA1. We are using a 1000 kilowatt chandelier. So we are connecting it straight to a 5 ampere MCB. For the L, then we have here the L3. We've connected the component of the L3 as this. Then we count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 there. I think we have about 13. 9. We have here 10, 11, 12. And one more, I think 13. Then those 13 components will be also be connected to their MCB. Hence, the components here, 100 watts each, has a maximum rating of 1.3 kilowatt. Now dividing it, also we are sending it to a 5 ampere MCB. For the L4 is this. Connecting this as L4 from this point here. We have the dining 1, 2, 3. We have 4, 5, 6. We have 7, 8. There's 1 here, 9, 10. We have about 10 points. And the total rating is 0.9. So we are connecting it to a 5 ampere MCB. The L5 also, the L5 comes from this point. We have the L5 here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and the total L5 we have about 0.8. So that means we have 8 points for the L5. So we have 0.8 kilowatts. Now the L5 is connected to a 5 ampere MCB. The LCs is 1 point. So let's see what the LC is. 1 kilowatt, I mean. So we have about 10 points. We have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the 10 points for the LCs gives a total of the LCs that's 1000 watts, that's 1 kilowatt. Now it's connected to a 5 ampere MCB. For the L7, we have the L7 part of the service room and the bedroom. We have the L7 has about 8 points. So you calculate the 8 points. We have here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 1 point here. So they have a total of 800 watt. Now having 800 watt, it is also connected to a 5 ampere MCB. Hence the total luminaries and the fans here have all been interconnected to they have formed a sub-circuit and they've been connected to the MCB. The purpose of forming a sub-circuit and being connected to the MCB is that each of these connections, each of the sub-circuits, for example the L1 sub-circuit, they all have 1 point here at the 10 ampere MCB. Hence, if venture there's a breakout here and they want to work on the L1 circuit, they'll put off the L1 point, they pull out the spark plug, the MCB, and it won't affect the rest of the building. It will only affect those points. The same thing goes here. If they want to work on the L2, that's the living room, a point on the terrace, it can single out this point and work on, and the rest of the building is not affected. That is the purpose of the sub-circuit. Okay, we have come to the end of today's class. At the end of the class, we should be able to design the luminary and fan layout, then assign these components into sub-circuit, group them to sub-circuit, assign letters and numbers to them, and assign them, do your mathematics, your calculations, and assign them to the MCB. Note that the rating of the MCB should not be less than the load current here. The MCB should be able to cater for the load we have here. Okay, that's the end of today's class. This is our design that we have here. Okay, we've come to the end of today's class. Thank you for joining us. I hope to see you in our next class.